What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the RootMotion combat series. In today's episode, we're going to add in hit tracing on the katana, basic target lock, create an AI character, set up code for damage and death, as well as add in some animations. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our katana mesh or whatever weapon mesh you have. We're going to just add in sockets here. Rename this start. I'm going to move this all the way up to the top of the weapon. All right, and then add another socket. And we're going to call this one end. And I'm just going to move that up to the end of the blade there. Go ahead and save that. Close that. We don't need that anymore. Let's go ahead and open up your third-person character. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. Something that we didn't do in the last episode. This is our attack. So from our input, just going to select the mesh play montage, select an attack. Going to right click those and hit collapse nodes. And then I'm going to rename that play attack montages. All right. Move this stuff in, just straighten this up real quick before we start doing any more code. All right, now we got that cleaned up. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click and we're going to create a custom event. Let's type in custom event. And we're going to call this katana trigger or weapon trigger. If you want to name it whatever weapon you're using. If you're using multiple weapons, you can just give it, a generic name. And we're going to go ahead and let's clean this up real quick because we're going to add some more variables in. Click on your combat mode on the category. Let's rename that to combat. And then we're going to drag in the is equipping, is attacking, and attack count. Then we can minimize that and that'll clean that up some. We're going to go ahead and add a new variable. It's going to be a Boolean. We're going to name that active collision. And we're going to go ahead and set that. We want to go ahead and create another variable. We're going to call this one already hit actors. And this one is going to be an actor reference. Type in actor, go down to object types, and it's going to be an object reference. And we're going to turn that into an array. Go ahead and get that. And from that, we're going to clear this. So what we're doing here is we're going to set it up to once we hit an actor with the collision, go ahead and check the active collision is true. But once we hit the actor with the collision, we're not going to hit the actor again with the collision until we've gone through the animation. So basically what this does is it prevents your collision from hitting the character multiple times at once. If you want that, then you can set it up that way. But for like your light attacks, your basic attacks, it's better to do like one hit. Just depends on how you want to set the game up. But that's basically what this is going to do. It's going to clear the collision from the already hit actor. So once the collision hits it, it clears it. So then the next attack, once it hits it, it'll clear it again. And then off of our active collision, we're going to set timer by event. And then promote the return value to a variable. I'm going to rename this to katana hit trigger event. All right, so now we want to go ahead and create another custom event. And we're going to name this one katana trigger trace. So this is what's actually going to trigger the trace, and we're going to connect our set timer by event to this event. So this is what's going to tell our timer to go ahead and run through our trace. And we're going to set a branch here. Do a branch after that. We want to check if our active collision is true or false. If it's true, we're going to do a multi-sphere by objects, or for objects, sorry. Okay, and then we want to get our katana. So our actual katana mesh. And we want to get socket location. And we're going to put in the socket name start. So what we're doing here is we're setting the trace location up. So it's going to start from the start socket that we added. Move this back. This. And then we're also going to do that from the end sockets. Go ahead and duplicate that. Connect the katana to the target. And our socket's going to be the end, and that's going to be our end trace. And then from here, from our object types, we're going to make an array, because this is the object type that we want to trace for, which is going to be a pawn. So when we create our AI character, that's going to be a pawn character. And then actors to ignore, we want to make an array. And then right click, and we want to get a reference to self. And we're going to set that to the array. So it's going to ignore whatever is controlled. So the mesh is our self. All right, and then from our multi-sphere trace for objects, we want to check if our return is true. And if it's true, we're going to do a for each loop. And our out hits, we're going to set to the array, because we want to check if we're hitting the pawn. And then we're going to break the hit results here. Go ahead and drop drop that down. From our hit actor, we want to check if it is valid. Just do the question mark is valid. From the loop body, connect that to the execute pin. And if it is valid, we're going to add a branch. And we're going to connect that from our hit actor, we need to do a contains. And a not Boolean. I'll explain this here in a second. Now we're going to get our already hit actors. And we're going to connect that. Actually, we need to do, a contains from the already hit actor. Contains item, not, and then a hit actor. Okay, so what we're doing here is we don't want to hit the already hit actor. So if it does not contain the already hit actor, and then from our hit actor again, we're going to get class. And from our return value, we're going to do equal. And we're going to set class to, let's go ahead and comment this real quick. Add class to AI character. Do needs class to AI character. So once we create our AI character, that's what we're going to pick the class here as. Okay, so we're going to do an AND Boolean, and we're going to connect both of those to the AND Boolean, and that's going to get connected to our branch. So we're looking to hit an actor that's not already been hit, and is the class, the actor class of our AI character. And if that's true, then we want to get our already hit actors. We're going to add a unique. So we want to add a unique actor to that. And then from that, we're going to apply damage. Set the base damage to 1. And then from our add unique actor, we need to connect that to our hit actor. We're going to add in a reroute node, so double click on the line there, add another one, and just move that up. We can go ahead and collapse this. I'm going to move this back a little. Go ahead and add some reroute nodes into these to clean this up just a little bit. Hate when it does that. There we go. And then from this reroute node, we can add that we need to get our controller. Sorry. That needs to go to damage actor. Is what that one needs to go to. So from our reroute node, we'll connect that to our damaged actor. And then the event instigator, we're going to, off of that, we're going to get controller. damage causer, we're going to get a reference to self. Move this down here. And then like if you're doing, so like if you add in a bow, you can select different damage types here. You'll have to set up other stuff for that to be able to reference that damage type class here, but that's how you would do that. So if you were doing magic, you could have a magic class. If you were doing damage type based on weapon, an axe doing different damage than a sword, you know, all that stuff, that's where you would add that in. And now that we have that set up, we need to set up our stop trigger. So right click, we're going to do another custom event. Add custom event, stop katana trigger. So we're going to name that one. And then from this one, we're going to set the active collision as false. So leave that unchecked. And then from that, we need to get our hit trigger event. And then we're going to clear and invalidate timer by that handle. So the timer that we set up here, so our timer by the event, that's our event handle, is the katana hit trigger event. Got a reroute node in that. Clean that up a little bit. So we use that event variable that we set up to clear the invalid timer by the handle. And then you can go ahead and draw a type for duration. And we're going to set our radius to 15. So what we need to do now is create our blueprint class for our katana event. So we're going to go into our combat folder, right click, add a blueprint class, and this is going to be a notify state. So anim notify state, and we're going to call this katana collision. Go ahead and open that up. So on our functions, we're going to override. We're going to add a receive notified, notify begin, and we're going to add a receive notify end. Go ahead and open, double click the begin again. Move this out. So, and from our mesh component, we want to get owner. And from our return value, from our execute here, we're going to cast to BP third person character. We're going to connect the get owner to our object. And then we're going to, from our cast to BP third person character, we're going to do katana trigger. And we're going to connect that as BP third person character to our target. And we're going to do the same thing. So we can just copy this on the notify end, except we're going to add the stop event that we created. Connect that to our mesh component, connect our execute to that. And we're going to do stop katana trigger. And this is going to create our notify to add in. Nope, need to connect that to the target to add into our montage. So now we can go to our animations. Open up our montage. Just add a notify track. If you only have one, just click add notify. And then we're going to right click where we want to do damage. So basically where we should hit is where we're wanting to trace. So we could trace the entire thing, but this just makes it a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to start tracing when he starts swinging. So right about there. So we're going to add notify state, katana collision, and then just drag that to your can attack for your next attack. And we're just going to add that to each one of our animations. So where he starts swinging. About there. Should be good. Add a notify track. Right click, add your notify state. Drag that one out to your can attack again notify. Do that on the third one. Right about. Let's start there. Add notify state. Drag that to the can attack again. And save that. All right, now that we have the event notify set up, we need to set our timer event. Set our time to 0.01. Make sure we click on looping for that. Go ahead and compile and save. And we should now be able to see our trace. So now we can see our trace. And we don't have a class set up, so it's just going to trace. It's not going to hit anything yet. Once we get our AI character set up, then we'll be able to trace for the AI character. So now that's good to go. Go ahead and comment this. Gonna trim this down a little so it's not so much stuff all over the place. All right, we're gonna comment this. We're gonna name this katana hit tracing. And change color. And show bubble on zoom. Next, we're going to set up our AI character. So what we want to do is, let's go to our combat. We're just going to right click. We're going to do a blueprint class. We're just going to do character. Call that AI. Let's go ahead and add our mesh in. Just going to use the same skeletal mesh. So characters, we'll go to meshes, SK mannequin. And we'll just go ahead and use the same blueprint. So whatever blueprint you have there, we'll just use that as the animation blueprint. And we'll go ahead and move him down so he's within the capsule. And let's go ahead and go to our collision. And we want to set that collision up to upon. Compile and save that. And now we should be able to Drag him in. Now when we hit him, we're getting green, which means the hit results are coming back true. And if you want to set up some print strings for that, you can also. So from your true, you would just do a print string. And you obviously change the color and stuff. So and that's what I was saying. So you can see how many traces it hits just from one swing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 traces it hits. So that's why we added in this already hit actors to clear that, so that all those traces do not hit. You only get one hit off of the trace instead of 7 hits off of one attack. So you can compile and save that. We're all good there. So we want to go ahead and go into our AI character. Go ahead and delete all this stuff. And this is where we're going to add our code. So this is where we're going to add our code for our hit animations, our death animation, as well as taking damage. So what we want to add here is an event. Any, nope, need to spell right, any damage. And we're going to, from our execute, we're going to do once. And then we want to go ahead and create a variable. We're going to call this health. This is just going to be a basic health setup. And I'm not going to do any UI or anything like that right now. And this is just basically setting up that we can do damage so that we can test it out. So we're going to get our health variable. And we're going to subtract that. And we're going to connect damage to the bottom pin of our subtract. And go ahead and compile that. And this is where we're going to set the character's base health. Let's just go ahead and do 3 for now, just for the purposes of the tutorial to test this out. And then we want to set the health. So you're going to do once, set the health to our subtracted health. That's going to set our current health. And then we want to add a branch. And we're going to check if our health is less than or equal to 0. From here, from the true, we're going to play montage. So this is going to be our hit montage. And we're going to add, sorry, we need to do an anim montage. So play anim montage. And we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to connect that to the false. So if our health is less than or equal to 0, we're going to play our death montage. If it's false, then we're going to play our hit montage. We're going to add a delay after each one of these. And this is going to be we can try to connect that at first. We'll do that at first. Sometimes it does not work. You may have to disconnect those and actually manually set it. From our death, after our death montage, we want to destroy our actor. And since we're doing this in the AI, that the target's going to be self. And from our hit, so we're not going to die. From our hit, we want to reset. And then we can add a reroute node in for this. All right, we can compile and save that. Let's just go ahead and test that and see if we're doing damage. Just make sure that that's working correctly. Okay, something's not right there. And what we forgot to do is go back in here and set our class. Just type in AI, and we're going to have AI right there. File and save that. Now let's test that out. And after we hit 3 damage, do 3 damage. Let's go ahead and turn our trace off. We can delete this comment here. Let's go ahead and turn our trace off. Go to none. So after three true hits, character despawns. So that's working correctly. All right, so now what we need to do is create our montages for these here. So you would find whatever hit montage animation you have. This is the death animation I have. And here's the hit animation. So I'm just going to create montages of both of those. And I'm going to save both of those. So the top one, I'm going to do the death. And the bottom one, I'm going to do the hit. Go ahead and compile and save that. And we'll test that out. Okay, so yeah, we'll have to... Whoa. That was kind of crazy. All right. So we're going to have to disconnect these. I'm going to change this to 0.1. Okay, so that seems okay. And we're going to change this to 1 for now, just to see. And 1 second should be good. It's that's going to be based on your animation. However long your animation is, you just test it out, try out different values, and let's see. Let's check the collision on this real quick on our AI. Can step up on. Let's change that to no. I think that's what's causing that. Huh. Maybe need to see here. Let's check the collision on our character. Ignore pawn. Let's do a custom on that. Let's overlap pawn and see if that fixes that. No, for some reason. Maybe need to set the traces. Try block. There we go. So yeah, you just set your pawn to block on your character, and that should fix that where it's running into the character, popping you up off the ground. All right, so now that we have that set up, all we've got left to do now is we're going to add in our target lock. So first thing we want to do is go to our combat folder. We're going to create a new folder. Call that target lock. We're going to right click in that folder and we want to create a blueprint interface. So go to blueprint and blueprint interface, and we're going to call this target lock and go ahead and save that. And we need to open our AI character back up and add that interface to the AI character. So we're going to go to class settings. Down at the bottom, you should see interface. Just click on the add and type in target, and it should pull up target lock. Save, compile, and save that, and you can close your AI again. All right. And then go ahead and open up the third person character blueprint again. And we're going to set up our target lock code. So what we need to do is create a custom event. So add a custom event. We're going to name this enable target lock. From the custom event, I'm going to drag off. We're going to do a multi-sphere trace for objects. We want to get actor location. And we're going to connect this to the start and the end, because this is the actor we're going to be tracing for, which is going to be our pawn. So off of this, object types, we're going to make an array. And we're going to set that to pawn. And then from our multi-sphere trace for objects, I'm going to get a for each loop. And we're going to connect our out hits to the array. And then we want to break the hit results of the array element. Go ahead and use our drop-down menu from our hit actor. Want to does implement interface, and we're going to pick the target lock interface. Then we want to add a branch in here. Connect that to the loop body. We're going to connect that to the branch. So we're going to check if it does implement the interface. So if the interface, the target lock interface, is attached to that character, then it's going to do the trace for that character. If that is true, we want to go ahead and create a variable. We're going to call this lock on target, and we're going to change that to an actor object reference. We're going to get that. No, we need to set that to an array. Sorry. Change variable type to an array. And we're going to add. The reason we're changing that to an array is so you can have multiple targets available. And we're going to connect that to the true. So we're going to add the lock on target. And we're going to set our distance. So let's go ahead and create a variable. We're going to call this distance. We're going to make that into a float and change that back to a single. And we're going to set that. We're going to set this to 1 million. I know this seems like a lot, but you can kind of play around with it and try to see. For some reason, that's the number that works. So that's what we're going to go with. And then we're going to go to another for each loop. And we're going to get our lock on target array. We're going to connect that to the for each loop array. Then we want to add another branch. And we're going to get actor location. We're going to set distance vector. And we're also going to get actor location. And we're going to set that to variable 2. And then our array element is going to connect to the bottom get actor location. And then we're going to check if the distance is less than or equal to. And we're going to connect our distance variable there. So we're going to get our lock on target actor, and we're going to compare the distance vector to see if it's greater or equal to the distance that's set. And if that is true, then we're going to set our distance. And we're going to connect our return value to our distance from the distance vector where we compared the two actors. And we're going to connect that to the true. And then we're going to set our target actor. So we need to create another variable. And this one's just going to be a target actor. So this is going to be our actual target. We'll name that target actor. And this could be another actor. Object reference. And we're going to go ahead and set that. And we are going to connect that to our array element from our lock on target for each loop. Go ahead and add in some reroute nodes, clean this up a little bit. All right, so then from our completed, once we have completed our for each loop here to check for our locked on target, we're going to check if the target actor is valid. So we're going to set it is valid, the question mark, and our input object is going to be that target actor. And then we need to go ahead and create two more variables. These are going to be Booleans. First one's going to be target lock engaged, question mark. Set that to a Boolean. Go ahead and duplicate that and rename it. Next one's going to be should rotate. And that's going to be if our character should rotate. So we want to set our target lock engaged if the target actor is valid. So go ahead and tick true on that. And then from that, if our target lock is engaged, we want to get the player controller. And from a player controller, we want to set ignore look input. Our new look input is going to be connected to our target lock engaged. And then we're going to set our should rotate. We're going to set that to true. And then we need to get the character movement. Orient type. Orient rotation to movement. We want to set that. We're going to set that to false. And we also want to get set use controller desired rotation. And we're going to set that to false as well. So leave those unticked. And then we're going to, off of that, set timer by function name. We're going to click on looping. We're going to go ahead and create a function real quick. And we're going to call that break target lock. And just compile and save that. Go ahead and hit F2 and copy that. Then we want to go back to our event graph, and in the function name, Go ahead and paste that. And then we want to promote the return value to a variable. And we're going to rename this break target lock ref. So that's going to be our reference to break the target lock. And you'll understand why we're doing this here in just a second. I know I'm not explaining this a whole lot. We're just kind of going through it. I will explain it once we kind of get done with this. So that's going to set us up to be able to break our target lock. So in our break target lock function, what we want to do we want to get our target actor. We want to right click that. We're going to convert to a validated get. And then we're going to do a branch, connect that to the isValid. So this is going to check. It's going to validate if we are locked onto our target. It's going to check where our target's at. We want to get actor location. And what we're doing here is we're going to set our target lock to break once we get a certain distance away from the AI. We're going to do distance vector here again. We're going to compare the distance vectors again, just like we did last time. Go ahead and duplicate get actor location. We're going to plug that into vector 2. And then from the distance vector, we're going to check if it's greater or equal to 1000. And you can set this value to whatever you want. So let's see here. So this, our radius, we need to set to 750. We didn't do that. That's going to check within 750 radius of the player to target lock. So if we get 1,000 away from the AI, the target lock's going to break. That's going to allow us to maybe run away even though we're target locked. If we get to a certain distance, the target lock automatically breaks and you go back into your regular locomotion. So for this bottom get actor location, we want to connect our target actor as the target for that one, because we want to compare the distance and see if the distance is greater or equal to 1,000. All right. Now that we got that part set up, we're going to go back to the event graph. Go ahead and minimize this, kind of straighten that up a little bit. So this is going to be our enable target lock. Now we're going to set up the disable target lock code. And we're going to right click, do another custom event. I'll name this disable target lock. And we're going to do a for each loop here again. We're going to get our lock on target array actor, connect that to the array. And then we want to go ahead and grab that again. Lock on target actor, we want to get that. And then we want to remove. Nope, not remove items. Remove item. We want to connect that to our loop body and then connect the array element to our pin there. So this is going to remove the lock on target actors. And then from the completed, we need to set our target actor. We're going to connect that to the set. And then our should rotate we're going to set. We're going to set that to false. So we set that to true in the engage or enable. Target lock engaged, we want to set that to false as well. And then we can just copy and paste. Actually, yeah, we could just copy and paste that into there. That'll make that easier. So just grab all of this section here for the enabled that we just did. So after the target lock engaged, go ahead and copy that. And then we can just paste that down here. We're going to delete the set ignored look input. And we're going to put a reset ignore look input. Connect those. Set those to false. Go ahead and leave those to false. And then after this, we can delete the set timer. And we're going to clear and invalidate timer by handle. And we're going to get the break lock target reference. All right, so now that the code to enable disable as well is set up, let's go ahead and do our input. So we're going to do IA. And we didn't set up an input for that. So let's go set the input up for that. Input actions, you just duplicate the attack. Call it IA target lock. Compile. Let's go to the controller. Let's go ahead and add the mapping in. IA target lock, and I'm going to set that to tab. Go ahead and save that. You can close that out. And this is actually going to be pretty simple to do here. So we'll right click IA target lock. And we're going to set a branch, connect that to the started. We want to check if target lock is engaged. If it is engaged, we want to disable target lock. If we are not locked on a target, then we want to enable target lock. Compile and save. So as you see, that's our 750 radius. So it's checking. All right. Seems to be hitting. Now we need to finish our code for the event tick. We're going to add a branch after our camera lock. Or you can connect it to the sequence if you'd prefer the sequence. We'll do it there. So we'll do a branch. We'll get should rotate. And from that, we want to get our target actor. Convert to a validated get. Set that to the true. And then we want to get player controller. And from that, we want to set control rotation. Set that to the is valid. And then our new rotation, we're going to get actor location. Go ahead and duplicate that right underneath it. Find look at rotation. And we're going to connect that to the new rotation. We'll connect that to our target. And we're going to connect the target actor to the target of that. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and right click those, and I'm going to collapse the node on those. Just call that target lock event tick. All right, so one thing we need to do that we forgot to do. So from our break hit results on our target lock, our enabled target lock, our break hits results, we need to connect our hit actor to our add. And then compile and save that. And then we're going to go ahead and test that out. So now we're target locked. Okay. So we need to go back into the break target lock. Yeah, we didn't finish our after our branch there. So if that distance is true, from the true, we need to disable target lock. And if that's false, then we want to cast to enemy, or cast to AI. And our object, we're going to connect to this target actor. And then from the AI execute, we're going to connect to branch. And we're going to check, we're going to get health. We're going to check if the character's health is less than or equal to 0. And if that's true, then we will disable target lock. So let's go ahead and check that out again. Okay, so the disable is not working. Take a look at that, see what we've got going on here. Something's not connected right there. So we got a lock on target to the array. We removed the lock on target. It's connected to our array element, so that's correct. On completed, our target actor, we reset, ignore, look input. So we're missing our is target lock engaged. Didn't copy that over for some reason. So we're missing that. So we need to set that right here. That's not set to false, so that's why it was not disengaging. All right. So now we target lock. Now we don't target lock. Perfect. So target lock. Let's see when we move certain distance away. Should be resetting. Okay, and then once we add that in, then we actually need to, let's just copy these two. I'm going to delete those, move this over. We need to add those before we reset our look ignore input. And then we need to set the time on our timer. So our set timer on our enable function, we need to set our time on that. We're going to set that to 0.15 and compile and save that. Hit play. And now when we move 1,000 away, now the camera lock disables. So now we're able to target lock, disable and enable just by hitting the input, and then also when we move to a certain distance, the camera lock will disable. So that's going to be it for today's episode. Not sure what I'm going to work on next. I'm probably going to start moving into just regular locomotion with in-place animations. Start doing some replication, working on multiplayer stuff maybe. If there's anything specific that anybody would like to see, let me know in the comments, and you could also let me know in Discord, and I will take those suggestions, see what people want to do. Just kind of depends on how complicated it's going to be, how long I'm going to have to take to research and figure out how to do it. I appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.